Yes. Are you posting the YouTube post on the it's in the same Okay, so from today we'll have a 1 hour 15-minute classes. We'll extend the class by 15 minutes. Now we'll introduce a new segment. So you have that research paper due, right? the research component, the mobile computing workshop that we are going to have. So what we'll do is, in the last 15 minutes of the class or 10 minutes of the class, we will talk about new research papers in the area of mobile computing. The papers that are coming out in good content. So we'll try to see how to analyze the research paper and how to write one yourself. So you will have to write a 4-page paper for your mobile computing workshop. So we'll take some insights from the papers that we discussed and try to use it while writing. So that will be the last 15 minutes of the class. We won't discuss one paper every class. We'll discuss maybe 2 or 3 papers. Okay. So let's start our class today with the implementation part of the course. So we'll talk about multi-threading in Android. Specifically Android, but in general we can talk about multi-threading in smartphones or embedded systems. But we will focus on Android. Now I'm using these slides by Victor Matters from Victor State University. These are good slides, so we'll use these as reference. But before we go into multi-threading, we need some basic knowledge about threads, and I'm sure you have that. But let's do a review. So, can anybody tell me the difference between threads and processes? Threads and processes? Yes, so that's a very good description. So, let's revisit. Let's revisit the issue. So, the difference between threads and processes. I'll use the board. So everybody can see me when I write here. Everybody sees me. Right? The person you can see what I do. Right? Okay. So threads versus processes. So first of all, if we have 2 threads coming out or porting from a single thread, then what do they share? First of all, they share code. Right? The code of these 2 threads will be the same. Same for processes. If we have one process and we fork and have 2 processes, then also they share code. So code is shared. What about global data? If you have some global data in your code and you fork a thread from that parent thread, Will these two threads share global data? Yes, they do share global data. So threads share global data. What about processes? Two processes, one process is running, and from there you form two processes. Do they share global data? What about stack? What about heap? These are the four main components of any program. Right? Code, global data, stack, and heap. If you give memory to that, then the program runs. So what happens for threads and processes? So global data is shared, we agree. We don't know it for processes yet. What about stack? Do threads share stack? Yes or no? Pardon? I heard some answers. Yes, they share stack or no? She says no. How many of you say no? They don't share stack. And how many of you say yes? Okay. Some review is needed there. They don't share stack. Threads have private stacks. What about heap? Do they share heap? Yes, they share heap. So everything, code, global data, heap are shared, only they have personalized stacks. What about processes? Processes share code. Do they share global data? No, they don't. Do they share stack? Processes, do they share stack? And as well as heap? So this is the fundamental difference between the two concepts, threads and processes. They do not share stack, they do not share heap. So if you have one process and you are working, you are making two processes, they start with the exact same copy of code, global data, stack, and heap, but they copy it in a different memory location. So they never share. They start with the same copy, but they don't share. For threads, they also start with the same copy of code, global data, stack, and heap. They don't share stack, so stack is copied onto a different memory location. But the code, global data, and heap is in the same memory location. So that is the subtle difference between processes and threads. So what is an example of process if we are running in a smartphone? In case of a smartphone mobile application, what is the example of a process and what is the example of a thread? When do processes get created and when do threads get created? So, for example, let's say you opened up Google Maps, right? And you opened up Gmail. Are these two instances two different threads or two different processes? Two different processes. Right? Now let's say you have Chrome browser. You opened up Chrome browser. That is also a separate process. Now let's say you opened up new tabs of Chrome. Is that the process? The new tab is a process or the new tab is a thread? A new tab is a process, this is process, this is thread. What is it? That is the definition. Right? This is the definition. So whenever Process means you share code, right? But you don't share any. Thread means you share. So whenever, so now if I say that Chrome is a separate process, we agree. From Google Maps, Gmail, Chrome is a separate process. But if you open up a new tab, is that a new process or that is a new thread? Easiest process is a thread. Not all it is thread. It should have been a process as well. For example, if you consider Firefox, and you open up two different windows, not tabs, two different windows. I'm talking about for mobile applications, but your laptop, desktop application. For Firefox, if you open up two different windows, well, no. They are part of the same process. But for Chrome, if you open up two different windows, they become two separate processes. So if you go to your task manager, you will see that multiple Chrome processes are running. But Firefox only single Firefox process is running. And so it depends on the decision that you make. But in case for mobile applications, when you open up Chrome browser, then each tab of Chrome browser becomes a thread. So if you think about it, if you think about our Android virtual memory, right? If you think about Android virtual memory, then what would it look like if we had created 2 or 3 processes and each process had threads? What would the memory look like? Right? So we know the distinction of processes and threads. Now there is this huge RAM, right? There is this huge RAM, and now you open up 2 different processes. Let's say just two different processes. How will you partition the memory of this RAM? Given the fact that you have a virtual memory, right, as a runtime, and it does application sandbox. So if that is the case, how will it look like, the RAM, if you have just 2 processes? Then there is a process P1 and there is a process P2. Right? What is the memory? So if I say that the amount of memory used by P1 is this much, so this is P1's memory. What will be P2's memory? Pardon? Remaining area. So not remaining area, but can P2's memory be this? Cannot be, right? Because we are having application sandboxing, so there is total isolation of what memory a process can use. So P2's memory will be somewhere here. Now let's say P1 has 2 threads, or let's say 3 threads, and P2 has only a single thread. What will be the memory of thread T1, T2, and T3? How will you draw the memory allocations for these 3 threads? T1, T2, and T3, as well as T1 of P2. Which part of the memory can these threads access? Can't hear it. Inside the sandbox of T1. So threads T1, T2 and T3 can only access anything that is inside the sandbox of T1. So this is the sandbox of T1, and this thread T1 can access this entire memory inside the sandbox of P2. Right? This is RAM. Now the question is, why do you do multi-threading? What is the advantage of multi-threading? Why do you need to do multi-threading? What is the need? Higher throughput means you need to do something with You can assign one thread to do one thing and the other thread to do other thing. So basically parallel computing. Simultaneous multi-threaded or parallel computing. So if you have a example, classic example of parallel computing is, let's say you have a matrix, right? This is a matrix A, and there is another matrix B which is on the same size, matrix B. Then you are doing this operation A equals A plus B. Ridiculously parallel operation. So what you can do is you can assign one thread on each of the elements of A. And so you have n square threads working on each elements of A and B at the same time, and you get a very speed up. Now, if you have this virtual memory type of operation, runtime operation, virtual memory, then is it beneficial or is there a limit to the total number of threads that you should have in a program? Why? No, that is same for any. So if you have low number of threads or higher number of threads, does not matter. It should not exceed allocated. So that is true for any type of any number of threads. Even if you do not have multi-threading, that is also a problem. But if multi-threading gives us better performance, then is it okay to have as many threads as possible? Or are we limited by something? Given that we are operating in a virtual memory system. So how do we go about it? So let's go about analyzing that or trying to answer that question. The first thing that we should know is that each thread, although they share code, heap, and global data, each thread has its own stack, right? So if you have, anybody knows how a stack is allocated? How does the memory management unit allocate the stack? How much memory do you keep for a stack? No? I thought local variables. Do you know what is the size of local variables during runtime? Equals to, you don't know where the program is going. There are jump conditions, for loops, right? You never know how many local variables you have. You may not have pointers. You just have just local variables. If you have pointers, then yes, you know, but then you can do malloc, memory allocation. But that's not stored in the stack. So what people do, what operating system does, is that just allocates a constant memory, just arbitrary value. Not just to stack, but to stack plus heap combined. They say that stack plus heap, you get 4 KB, 4 MB, 4 KB, or whatever. Just an arbitrary value. Right? So if you don't use it, it goes to waste. If you need more, then you need to swap out some things, some other thread stack. You swap out that stack and put it in disk. Give the more stack that the one thread needs. Give it that much amount of stack. Once that thread is done, you need to go back to hard disk and pull that stack of the other thread that you just pushed out. You pull that stack up and put it in the main memory. So if some of the stack is not there in the main memory, or if one thread needs more stack, then what happens is that there is a performance increase. Because now you have to take somebody's stack, push it somewhere else, and once that thread is done, you have to take that stack and you just pushed out and put it back. It takes time. So that limits the performance. Now, if you have a virtual memory type of runtime, then the total amount of memory that all these threads can use is limited. limited by the amount allocated to process P1. Because this thread cannot go anywhere else. It cannot go use the free memory of P2. It cannot. Even if P2 is not utilizing this memory, P3 cannot go and use their memory. So the amount allocated to each of the stacks of this thread reduces as you have more number. If you increase the number of threads, the amount of stack allocated or amount of memory allocated to each thread reduces. So that imposes a trade-off. So it is not true that you can have as many threads as possible and you still have performance improvement. Because it will be limited by your stack size. And as your stack size decreases, you need more such operations that you need to kick out somebody from the memory, do whatever you want to do in your stack and then bring it back. So there is a limit. There is a limit to the total number of threads that you can have. Now, the problem is, whenever you need, so there are two problems. First of all, how do you quantify the need of the thread? How do you quantify the memory need of the thread? That is one problem. The second problem is, once you have quantified the memory need of the thread, how much do you allocate to each thread? You cannot allocate the entire memory need at once, because the other thread will be distracted. Right? So how to optimally allocate the memory needs of a thread so that the response time of each thread is optimized. So now, why do we talk about response time? So before doing that, let me write down what all parameters are we just discussed. And if I write it here, we won't have any record. Can I use the pen and maybe let's see if we can see anything. You can see what I wrote. Right? Okay. So we discussed two things. First of all, how to quantify memory requirement. And second, how to distribute. So how to distribute memory across threads to optimize user experience. And that is our final goal, always our final goal. Whatever we write, whatever mobile applications we write, it has to have good user experience. Now, user experience is hard to quantify. Somebody might say this is very subjective, right? User experience. Somebody might find an application very good, some other person finds it very bad, depending upon his needs, right? So instead of user experience, the parameter that is used to quantify user experience, and this is a very important parameter, is response time. Anybody knows what is response time? What is the definition of response time?
How quickly the system responds to the.
You're giving me recursive. You cannot use response to define response. Exactly. Well, not exactly, but very close. So, any thread, if we have a thread, it has to have some input and it has to give out some output data, right? Input data and output data. We do not run programs which do not have data. For example, we do not just run hello world. It has to have some input, some output. So, response time can be defined as so it's the time difference between an input and the first output data. So you do not have to output everything. So input in this case is what? Human interactions, touch or button click. Now once I hit the button or click the button, you do not have to give me the entire result within a specific amount of time. But you have to show me some output. Some visual interaction has to be there. So the time difference between an input and the first output data or the first visual interaction that the person is having with the mobile phone. Right? So that is response time. So we have to optimize the response time. Optimize response time means minimize response time. So if there are multiple threads, let's say 10 threads, right? If there are 10 threads, then each thread has to meet the response time requirement. And typically the response time requirement is in 3 seconds. Within 3 seconds, if a thread does not respond, the operating system kills. Down the line, Linux kernel that works for an attack, that kills. So that is a threshold that you have for application. So if you design an application where your thread takes more than 3 seconds to give an output, then you will never run. The operating system will kill it. So that is the response time. So now what the problem is, a program or let's say there are multiple applications. Each application you can consider it as a process or a thread does not matter at this point now. So we make some distinction between processes and threads, but then now it does not matter anymore. So you can forget about the distinction. So if you so why I am saying that is that we will use the term processes and threads in the same way. So processes will mean threads, threads will mean processes from now on. But we have to keep in mind that there is subtle distinction between these two entities. So given that, the problem now becomes how do I give memory to these processes that are running in the mobile phone. Now, there are multiple processes, right? You keep multiple things and they start multiple processes, multiple threads. So how do I give memory to these processes and threads so that each and every thread can give out a response under the That is the requirement. Right? Now, turns out that you don't really have a solution to that problem. You can only have approximate solutions. Any solution to that problem, any exact solution to that problem, assumes that you have knowledge about the future. So you cannot have knowledge about the future, so that's why you cannot solve that problem. So there are always approximate solutions. So one of the approximate solutions that we talk about is the fair scaling policy for threads, and that is used by Android, the fair scaling policy. But before answering that question, let's answer the first question: how to quantify memory requirements of a thread? There are many ways. first thing you can say, okay, stack size. We can go define how much stack size the thread requires. But then, as I told you, that it's very difficult to estimate the stack size of the thread because you don't know what will be the size of the local variable, size of the array, size of the heap. Because as in a for loop you can go on malloc, right, and you can increase. So it's very difficult to quantify by just saying that the thread needs 4 KB, right? Because all threads will need 4 KB. There's no way to distinguish exactly how much stack space or heap space each thread requires. So the people came up with this definition. They came up with the definition of memory bandwidth. What is the memory bandwidth? So each thread computes at a certain computes at a certain speed means it takes its input at a certain rate. So 5 KB per second, for example. So what does it mean? It can compute on 5 KB of data and give a result with 1 second. Whatever it computes does not matter. Whatever algorithms it runs, whatever it computes does not matter, but it can compute on 5 KB of data and give a result within 1 second. So that is the memory bandwidth. That's one way of characterizing the memory requirements of the thread. So memory bandwidth is the amount of input data on which the thread can run whatever computation it is running and give an output within a second. So that is the memory bandwidth. Now threads can request any memory bandwidth they wish, and they can request memory bandwidth to the operating system. They can say that okay, I need 300 kbps because I will give you an output within 1 second. I take 300 KB of data and I will give you an output within 1 second. But the problem is there are many threads that request those kind of memory bandwidths, and there is no limitation. The operating system does not give a limitation to any application. It does not say that it cannot ask for more than this much amount of memory bandwidth. So, whatever memory bandwidth an app requests may not be given. Because the amount of memory bandwidth given to a particular application will depend upon what other threads and what other processes are running. So we have answered the first part of the question, like how to quantify memory requirement. This is one way of quantifying memory requirement. There can be many other ways, but this is one of them. Now, given the answer to that question, how to distribute memory across threads to optimize response time? That is the next question that we are asking. And we said that there is a specific algorithm that Android uses. It is called pair scheduling. Pair scheduling policy. What is the aim of the pair scheduling policy? The aim is to give memory to threads in such a way that it can minimize the response time as best as it can, given the current situation. Given all the other threads that are operating, its aim is to allocate the memory to the thread such that it can minimize the response time. Aim is to minimize response time. What is the strategy? The strategy is that apps request memory bandwidth. So let's say that an app I is requesting bandwidth I. So this is the requested bandwidth. Right? How do you decide what is the requested bandwidth? Well, each app has an execution time, intended execution time, not really the real life execution time, but an intended execution time. So let's say this is an intended execution time. Intended, right? And the app has to operate on data whose size is di, data size is this. Then this bandwidth required can be obtained as data by this. Right? There is a way of calculating how much bandwidth we require. But most probably what will happen is that the app gives this value of bandwidth required. They will be given this value of bandwidth. So once you are given this value of bandwidth required, you have I apps and you have I such numbers. Now, the total amount of memory can be characterized by another operation or another parameter, which is the maximum bandwidth. The maximum bandwidth says that this is the maximum rate at which you can compute given the current system. So you have a CPU and you have a memory. What is the maximum rate that the CPU can execute a single instruction on a certain unit of data? So that is the maximum bandwidth. Now what will happen is that most probably, if you sum all the bandwidths over all apps I, the required bandwidth, this will be much greater than the bandwidth maximum. Then on multiple threads, each thread is requesting a lot of bandwidth. So the pair scheduling policy allocates bandwidth. So now we want to calculate the allocated bandwidth. So the allocated bandwidth allocated bandwidth is basically given by this equation. So the required bandwidth divided by the sum of all required bandwidth and multiplied by bandwidth. So simply put, it just gives the relative fraction of the required bandwidth. So turns out that if you allocate this way, then the response time that you get in time will be the best that you can do. Given the if the number of threads remains the same for the entire period of time, but most likely it won't stay the same. There will be new threads coming in, some threads going out, right? So, so in that case, we don't reach the optimal response time. So even by this allocation also, even after this allocation, some threads will have a response time that is greater than 3 seconds, and they will get killed. But this is an attempt done by Atom. So pair scaling policy is being used currently. So now what happens when a thread ends or some thread comes in? So given this allocated bandwidth, then you can find out what is the actual execution time of threads. Right? So actual execution time of threads is the actual execution time. actual execution time can be obtained by the data that needs to be operated on before it gives an output divided by the bandwidth that you found out. That becomes the actual execution time. Most likely, this execution time increases than the intended. So now the thing is, the allocated bandwidth is this if the sum of all bandwidth required is greater than maximum bandwidth. If this is the case, else allocated bandwidth becomes equal to bandwidth. Now, what happens when a process ends? When a process ends, you have to redo this calculation. First, you have to redo this calculation given the current state of every process. So when a particular process ends, other process might need a different amount of data on which they are operating. And they might have already operated on certain portion of the data. So they do not need to reoperate on that portion of the data. So what you need to do is you need to rerun this pair scheduling policy with the updated state of the process. So this is when a process ends. And the same thing when a new process comes in. We have to redo. You have to redo taking into account the current state of the process. So that is the pair scheduling policy. Now we have discussed a lot about the policies. Let's discuss some coding mechanisms of threads. How to code in Android using threads. So let's move on to this presentation. So these are, we have already discussed some of the things that are in the slide. So a thread is a concurrent unit of execution. It has its own call stack for different things involved. Right? So stack is private. So here we go into coding. Now the thing is, in Android everything is very easy. So if you want to declare a thread, then you have a base class for the thread class. So you take that thread class and you do basically extend it, or you get an object of the thread class and extend it. So same way. So the threads, yeah. So one. But one way of executing thread is that you have a new class that extends the thread class, and then overriding its run method. So in each thread class, there will be a run function. You just write whatever code you want to write for that particular thread in the run function, and it's called thread.start. That is one thing. Now, remember when we were talking about activities and services, we said that activity was for interacting with the UI and services was for the background. And we discussed an elaborate way of how an activity can communicate with the service. And when we did bounded services. When we did bounded services, we said that activity declares a socket, service declares a socket, and then you can use socket communication between them. Turns out that Android has another way of invoking threads, which lets services, the background threads, to communicate with activity. What is another way? What you can do in the activity thread is that you can take certain portions of the code that you would want to run and declare it as runnable. So you declare certain portions of the code as runnable, and that is part of the activity. Now, what you can do is a background thread, which is totally different from the activity. Let's say using the activity thread, you have declared another thread and you have started the thread using the first method. So you take a thread class, declare an object, extend it, and you did thread.start so that the background thread started running. Now this background thread, if there are no runners, this background thread has no way of communicating with the activity. But what you can do is you can declare certain portions of the code in the activity thread as runnable. Then this background thread can tell the activity thread to create another thread that executes that runnable code. So what is happening? That this is kind of complex. So what is happening is this. There are two methods of invoking threads. So in the first method, what you do is you have this activity thread, which is already given to you. So you declare some thread t equals new thread, so on. So this is you are declaring an object of the thread class, and then whenever you declare, then you have t dot run. What you do is you write the code. You write the code, and from the main activity you can do t dot start. If you do that, this new thread t is running as a background thread, and it has no way of communicating with the activity thread. But now, the other way of running this thread is that, so you have this background thread. You have, in addition to this, what you have done is that you have said, okay, there is a runnable thread T2, right? And in here, in the runnable threads run, right, you have declared some portion of code. So what is happening is that this activity thread is running. In the activity thread, at certain point it forked out and it started running a thread T2. Oh no, sorry, T, the thread T. So this is a thread T running. Now in this thread T, it can have a request to run the runnable. So what happens is that in this activity thread there is a portion of code that is runnable. The moment it gets this request from T, what happens is that this runnable thread starts running as a background thread in T. You understand this method, the two ways of running threads in Android. There is a very specific reason why this kind of operation is called. And the reason I think you already know. The reason being, background thread might want to update certain things in the UI. Why? Because of the reason of the response time. So what is happening is that let's say in some application you click a button to download a file, and the file is pretty big, it's taking a long time. You have created a background thread T, and it is downloading, it is using the record to download that file. It's taking a long time. What you can do is every 1 second you can run a runnable. And what does that runnable do? It's a part of the activity thread, so it can access the UI component. So that runnable shows you an action bar, a progress bar, and it updates the progress bar. So keep in mind that this thread T2 can update the UI. It can update UI because this is a part of the activity thread. There is a part of the activity thread code, so it can update UI. So that is the main purpose of having these two ways of running threads. One way is the classic way of running threads. This is the typical way that you do in Java. Take a thread class and extend it to thread.start. But this runnable is a new way where you have this runnable code is a part of the activity code. And if you run it, it can update UI. So if you imagine that scenario which we just discussed, that there is network download, then thread T is doing the download. While T is doing the download, periodically it is invoking the thread T2, the runnable thread T2, which can just implement the process one. So that is for better user experience. So these are two ways of running threads. So this is the thing that we just discussed, and we went on to pair scheduling. That says that there are common memory resources for process 1 and process 2, and their application sandbox. Right? So these are separate. Then we have more threads. This is basically. These things we have already discussed. So I'm skipping this time. The disadvantages of multi-threading, we have seen one that it might be, if you have more and more threads, it might limit the number of threads because it might hamper your response time. Right? That is one problem. Another problem is race conditions and deadlocks. How many of you know about those? I don't know if anybody almost knows about it. Why does race condition and deadlock occur? What kind of it? What type of it? What type of it? Global data, right? So if multiple threads trying to access the same global data, because remember threads share global data. Share means actual memory, physical location they share it. It's not a copy. So they share global data. So if they share global data and two threads try to update at the same time, it becomes a race match. So we know right drive, read drive, those kind of problems. So threads have those kind of problems, and you need to be very careful in writing code using threads. That is one problem. The other problem is deadlocks. Deadlock means that let's say process P1 requires two resources, and process P2 requires another two resources. Same two resources. Right? So resource R1, resource R2. So process P1 requires R1 and R2, process P2 requires R1 and R2 as well. P1 and P2. P1 requires R1 as well as R2. P2 requires R2 as well as R1. Right? If they don't get both the resources, they cannot execute. So imagine a scenario where P1 access R1, but before it can access R2, P2 came in and access R2. So now P1 cannot access R2. So P1 cannot finish. So if P1 cannot finish, it cannot release R1. And P2 cannot then access R1. P2 cannot also execute. So it cannot release R2. So both get stuck. So that is deadlock. So these kind of problems exist if you have multi-threading. So those are some of the disadvantages of why you would not want to do multi-threading. Now typically this threading is done in a scenario where you have some UI components and you have some background tasks. So we talked about activities and services. Those are also threads. Activity is one type of thread, service is another type of thread. one way we saw message passing interface. Message passing. So by developing sockets and by communicating in that. So that communication is done through handler or handler. We'll talk about the handler objects in a minute. And the other way of communicating between threads is just we saw just now, posting the header. So let's discuss them one by one. Let's the details are here. Let's discuss here. In the notes. So message passing interface or handlers. Handlers are used to implement this message passing interface. So how does it work? I mean, technically we have sockets and all those things, but what does it achieve? So for every thread there is a queue. And for every socket communication that we establish between two threads, there is a token. Now, what do you do when a thread wants to communicate with another thread? The first step is get access to a token. So let's say this is the activity thread, for example. This is the activity thread. The activity thread has this queue. This is also called message queue. And it also has the token. So a service thread, let's say what is a service thread? Service thread or background thread. So this service thread or background thread, what does it have to do? It has to get access to a token first. Then it has to embed whatever message it wanted to send to the activity. It has to embed the message into the token. Then the third thing is put the token in the message. What the activity thread or the main thread which generated this the background thread, what does that do? So in terms that service thread can be any background thread. It doesn't need to be service thread. I'm just taking the example. Any background thread, an activity thread is the main thread. Right? So the main thread maintains this message queue, and this token can be accessed by either main thread or the service thread. Now what happens is that the service thread gets access to token, embeds the message into this token, and puts this token in the message queue, right? And frees that token. So that another background thread can get access to the same token and give it message, give a new message and put it in the message. Now what the main thread does is that it looks into the message queue whenever it gets time on doing other things, right? It goes to the message queue and reads messages following certain policy, either first in first out or highest priority, whatever policy it might have. It goes into the message queue and pops out a token, reads the message, does whatever it has to do to serve that message, comes back, gets into the message queue. If the message queue is empty, it continues executing what it was doing. So that is the message passing interface. Simply do. And how you do it? You do it using handlers, so you see here. That is one thing. Now we also saw that there was this runnable, right? The runnable way of communicating between two threads. it uses the same message passing interface logic. So what you have is that you have a message queue and then you have a runnable queue. So there is another queue called the runnable. So whenever a background thread posts a runnable, basically what happens is that the end gets access to this token, and in that token it asks for the activity to run a particular runnable. And then it posts the runnable, which means it takes the runnable and puts it to somewhere in the runnable queue. And the main thread again goes back to the runnable queue. If it is not empty, it has to have a token, so it reads the token, sees who is requesting what portion of the code, and appropriately runs the code. Right? So, and a side effect of this is that you never, so whenever you post a runnable, so whenever you use the runnable method of executing a thread, you never know when that thread is going to get executed. Because it depends upon the runnable queue, how many other runnables are there in the queue. You don't really know exactly what moment the main thread is going to execute my runnable thread. It all depends upon the CPU schedule. So that is a randomness that is inherent in multi-threading of this kind. So coming back to this presentation. So you have main thread has a message queue, as I already said. The token in code, the token is also called a handler. In code you use a handler to get access to a token, to modify a token and make a message and to send it out. Yes, so there are two main uses for a handler: to schedule messages and runables to be executed at some point in the future, and to empty an action to perform on another thread. So this is what we already discussed. So now what we do, there are three, or actually four functions related to a handler. We will talk about that in the next class. Four functions and how the code is actually executed. We'll talk about that in the next class. But in this class, what we'll do next is we'll talk about a paper, and we'll try to see how to read paper for our research component and how to write one. Right? I'm sure, last time we did a survey, there were a few of you who already had submitted research papers. Right? So you have some experience. But let's revisit. So this paper was published in Movicom. Movicom is a very prestigious mobile computing conference. And this paper is about EcoTag. So it's an accurate infrastructure free indoor location tagging with smart. So as you know, we'll talk about this much later as well. So localization. Localization means identifying where a phone is located. So you can use it for location-based services. You can use GPS and all of those. But GPS works out. It does not work indoor. So there is a huge research area where people are researching about how to find out exact location indoors. Whether you are in your bedroom or in your bathroom, everybody wants to know. Right? So there has to be some form of algorithm. So this is one such attempt, EcoTag. So what they are doing is that based on, before we go to this, there are many different methods of doing indoor localization. One popular method is taking the Wi-Fi signal strength. So whenever you have a Wi-Fi access point, you go around the room, you will find different signal strength of Wi-Fi. What is the signal strength again? So if you have a Wi-Fi, it is sending some electromagnetic signals to your antenna. So you have a smartphone, you have Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi sends an electromagnetic signal to the antenna of the smartphone. The strength is how much power are you using. So every wave, every electromagnetic wave has some power in it. So how much power? That power varies as you go away from the access point. So everybody, I think, knows about the inverse square. Right? So as you go away, the power decreases by, in proportion to 1 by r square. R is the distance between the access point and the smartphone. Now that inverse square law works when there is nothing in the vicinity. So in free space, it will go outside this world in a spaceship. Then this inverse square law works perfectly fine. But if you are in your room, in your home, that inverse square law does not work. The primary reason that it does not work is because when you have an access point, it's sending electromagnetic waves, it's bouncing from the table, it's bouncing from the chair, it's bouncing from the person, right? And once it's bouncing, it's colliding with each other and either amplifying or negating. So if you go to a beach, you will see that multiple waves are coming from different directions. They collide. Either they become very big or they just die down. Right? Same effect. Same effect here. The electromagnetic waves are colliding because they are getting reflected from the walls and the directions are changing. Right? So based on this effect, based on this called multi-path fading. So based on this multi-path fading effect, you will see different power, different signal strength at different locations in your room. If nothing moves, if there are no moving components, then this different signal strength ratio between different points remains same. So by doing a fingerprinting, and by doing a fingerprinting means you take a smartphone and you just roam around and just measure signal strength. So what you can do is you can divide the entire room into a grid and say that okay, at this grid point I had signal strength X, at that grid point I had signal strength Y, and this will remain same if nothing moves. So you can say whenever you get signal strength X, then you can say okay, you are at this grid point. Whenever you get signal strength Y, you say no, you are at that grid point. You can say that. So that is the fundamental logic behind Wi-Fi based localization. Locating a smartphone. That is the basic point. Now the problem is this does not work. Why? Because why are you doing localization? You're doing localization because while you're moving, I want to track your movement. So movement is fundamental to localization problem. But the problem is if you move inside a room, the signal strength gets disturbed. Because you are also reflected. And the position of the reflector is moving. So if it is moving, the signal strength gets disturbed. So you cannot really use Wi-Fi based fingerprinting. So that is one problem. People are trying to get over that problem. There is a lot of research going on how to do Wi-Fi fingerprinting and still taking into account person movement and all those things. But this paper is trying to do a fundamentally different way. What they are trying to do is instead of Wi-Fi, they are trying to see the sound effects. So what they are saying is that if I keep a mobile phone on this table, as opposed to keeping a mobile phone on that corner, it will pick up different sounds. So what happens is that here it will pick up me yelling, but there it will pick up the AC sound more than me yelling. Right? So there are different sound signatures. So each location has a different sound signature, and based on the sound signature, so next time, so again you have to do you have to first do this echo tagging, so sound tagging, right? So you have to still do the sound tagging. It's too smart. If something becomes too smart, then false negative, false negative. So you have to, so that is a practical example of the trade-off between false positives and true negatives equal. Right? So we will talk about that later on when we talk about machine learning. I'm sure this does not use any machine learning, but this is a live example. So we are drifting. So what they do is echo tagging. It means that they tag the sound signature with location. So if you put it here, there is one type of sound signature. You collect that sound signature and you tag that okay, this was the test. Right? So now the next time you see the similar sound signature, you can say that okay, your location is close to this. Now it's easier said than done because sound signature varies. So you have to most probably use some machine learning techniques to match sound signature, and that is what exactly they are doing. So now this initial introduction, the way I did this initial introduction, you can understand that the moment you are trying to read a paper and trying to analyze what is there, you have to talk about competing techniques. So what competing techniques I talked about? Wildlife intervention. That is very well established technique and hotly researched technique. Right? So whenever you are critically analyzing a paper, you need to talk about related one. So this is a related one that I talked about. Wildlife fingerprinting versus eco tagging. That is the first step. And that is what you will do also for your research tagging. Whenever you have some idea, first of all, the idea is, so here what is the big problem? The big problem is window localization. That is the big problem this paper is tackling. Right? Now from that big problem, they are taking a solution. One type of solution. So one type of solution is tagging, finding out signatures. Finding out signatures of unique location, and then when you come back to the, or when you get that same signature, you can make a prediction about the location. That is one technique, one technique. Now you might ask about what other techniques exist. There might be many different other techniques that exist. For example, one technique is, we will talk about that paper as well, we'll come later. That paper uses the smartphone accelerometer. And there is the accelerometer in the smartphone, and it tries to see when you move, how do you move? What is this movement signal? So when you move, so what they are assuming is that this is a particular layout. And when you are going to that door, you will always move like this. So this is the signature. So if you move like this, then that means you went from the destination door. That is another way of doing it. So that does not involve tagging any location. It involves analyzing accelerometer. So you have to think about all this. So how a paper is scoping their research, that is very important. They have a high level problem window localization, then there are many solutions to it. The accelerometer based solution, Wi-Fi fingerprinting and so on. So they are saying that okay, we are focusing on signature based solution. Now out of the signature based solutions, there is Wi-Fi fingerprinting and there is an Howard solution which is different. So that's how you scope out your idea. So same for whenever you are writing a paper, you will have an overall idea that you will want to discuss, and then you have to finally narrow it down. Finally narrow it down to your specific solution that you want, and then you have to discuss how innovative is that solution and so on, which we will discuss next class. Will continue. Right? Okay. And then we will stop here.